Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com, continuing our top 10 list of cards we're going to miss post-rotation. We are all the way on to number 3, so 2 cards left after today, which I will be doing tonight on Twitch.tv. So until then, until we do the Twitch, we'll do the number 3 card that I'm going to miss post-rotation. And this is a card with Flash, and it's a creature, and it's a green creature. It is Boon Satyr. Boon Satyr went in a ton of my decks. I think it went perfectly with Elvish Mystic. Elvish Mystic and Boon Satyr were best friends throughout the standard season. Boon Satyr was great with Devotion for green. It was also really good with Ferocious. So I thought I'd try to build a deck around Boon Satyr and give this guy one last hoorah. Speaking of Devotion, there's also a card that goes quite well with Boon Satyr, which we'll talk in a minute. So Boon Satyr is a 4/2 flash for 3 mana. It also has Bestow. I think that it was one of the better Bestow cards. If not, it probably was the best Bestow card in the set, with a very reasonable 5 mana Bestow. Now, I think that the Flash made it reasonable. The problem with Bestow out of the Theros block was I think that they overvalued how good Bestow was going to be, and so they put the Bestow cost a pretty high casting cost. Most of them were at least 2 colorless more than its original cost, and I think that it made it a little bit hard for Bestow to see them as much of value as they wanted it. They wanted it to be the pivotal part of Theros. It was cards coming down from Nyx to either help or hurt the population of Theros, depending on the god or whatnot. So Boon Satyr, though the Flash at 5, is very reasonably costed. You could flash this guy in to kill something. You could flash this guy in to kill your opponent. You can flash this in to protect a creature. I've done all of those scenarios. So, anywho, let's pull up a deck list and try to build specifically around Boon Satyr. So here's my deck list. We have the 4 of Boon Satyrs. And the card I was talking about, the Devotion card that I'm also going to miss, is Aspect of Hydra. So these are quite good. This gives +2/+2 with the Boon Satyr at flash speed. And then what we're going to use as much Devotion as possible, which in the 2-drop slot, there's a 2/1 Hexproof for 2 mana, which is okay, but I'm thinking it has Hexproof for each 2/1, but I'm thinking just the 3/2 for 2 is better in this deck because you want to be doing as much damage as possible. And then the Avatar of Resolute is a dud here, so we're going to actually try to support Avatar a little bit. Like, usually you want like a Hardened Scales type ability with Avatar, but Honored Hierarch is probably the best 1-drop. It's a 1/1 for 1 that in this deck it's just going to hopefully be a 2/2 for 1 mana. That's basically what we're using it. And for whatever reason, if we need to tap it for mana, which in this deck not so much, maybe into a 3rd turn Collected Company or Polukranos Surrak, then Honor Hierarch will shine here. But as is, we're just using it mainly for its 2/2 body if we put it on turn number 1. Now, Collected Company is another great card with Boon Satyr. Gives basically all of your cards flash in this. There are only 4 creature cards that we can't hit with Collected Company, which is going to be the 3 Surraks and 1 Polukranos. So Reverent Hunter also works very well in this Devotion-based deck. Even if you go like a turn 1 Elvish Mystic, a turn 2 Boon Satyr, and a turn 3 Reverent Hunter, you will have a 5/5 for just 3 mana. And late game, a Collected Company makes him a lot cooler. If you have like turn 1 Elvish Mystic, turn 2 Swordwise Centaur, and turn 3 Collected Company, finding like a Boon Satyr and a Reverent Hunter, you now have a 6/6 and a Boon Satyr. Matagorger Hydra is just really good with Elvish Mystic. It has very good synergy, so we're going to put it in here. It also has some decent synergy with Avatar of the Resolute. And Avatar of the Resolute, even without counters, though, with the Trample, is really good with Aspect of Hydra. And the Trample from Matagorger Hydra is very good with Aspect of Hydra because you're at least going to get +1/+1 from the Aspect. Most likely you're going to get a lot higher. So I've done just some insane amount of damage with Aspect of Hydra before. Surrak is just a great card, 5/4 for 4 mana. Most likely, even with the Swordwise Centaur or an Avatar, it's going to give himself haste. And then you can follow it up with like a Polukranos or a Collected Company and give some more things haste. Boon Satyr will also trigger off the Surrak. Most likely a Reverent Hunter will trigger off a Surrak, and a Matagorger Hydra will most likely have enough counters on it for a Surrak. So Surrak is incredibly powerful. We aren't going to do anything tricky with the mana base. It's just going to be 21 forests. And the sideboard is just basically, it's going to be metagame dependent. Ranger's Guile is going to be good versus Ultimate Price or cards like Lightning Strike. We have a Hunt the Hunter versus any sort of green-based deck. We have Elemental Bond versus any decks that are trying to kill off our creatures. And we'll bring this in versus Abzan. We'll bring it in versus Jeskai. We'll bring it against versus Black-Blue Control. It's just going to help us. Every creature draws a card, continues to put pressure on an opponent. Windstorm is in here for the Hangerback Walker or any sort of Hornet Nest type deck. Unravel the Aether is in here for the specifically for Hangerback Walker and Insular Artifact. We have a window set of Syntactics if there is any sort of green devotion based deck that we need to kill creatures. We don't want to be trying to race a deck that is going to go over the top of us with mana dorks, so a set of Syntactics is really good for killing off those dorks. And yep, that's basically self-explanatory. Now at least decide we'll be in here for the mono red matchup. Other than that, I think we're good to go. And this has been my top 3 pick, the Boon Satyr. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Rogue Deck Builder. If you'd like to support Rogue Deck Builder, I highly encourage buying a playmat by clicking the link to your left. Also, if you enjoyed these top 10 videos, click on the top 10 icon to see the full playlist. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.